welcome everybody to the Kitchen of Gather and Drift. We are doing a joint project for the fall where we are going to do some taste tests between some of our favorite bourbons and whiskeys and with a wonderful selection of holiday pies. So let's start off with, well, we haven't even cut this one yet. We're going to start off with, I think we're going to start off traditional, some pumpkin. I will need a plate, or else I'm going to eat off of someone else's.
We can share.
We can share. Okay, I just need a fork.
Tara can always edit this stuff out, right?
I'm not editing this out.
All right,
It's staying.
we are going with some pie. This one is store bought. You'll have to I apologize, but there's only so many pies you can make in a kitchen at one time. So first,
3 hours.
in 3 hours. So first, we're gonna try
3
the
hours
pumpkin pie.
notice.
All right,
I'm ready.
you're ready, Jackie? Why are you laughing?
Remembering the lab days.
Oh. Okay, pumpkin pie is pretty straightforward. In terms of taste, this is all sweet. There's a little bit of bitter actually.
It's too sweet.
It's
If we're
quite
critiquing
sweet.
pie,
Yeah,
which I
Quite sweet.
obviously am.
I mean you're allowed to. You're a baker. You can do that. What we're gonna talk about is on the sweet side, a little bit of bitter. Did you need that?
Yeah.
Okay. The spices that are typical of pumpkin pie spice are going to give you a little bit, obviously all of the aromatics that you would suspect, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, maybe actually a little clove. And it's a little bit on the spicier pungent side, so that's why I think there's
in it.
an allspice. Thank you.
Mhm.
You chip in, you gather and
Okay.
drift, bring it in.
Okay.
So that's what's going on there. Mouthfeel though, I think the texture of this is really great. It's really smooth, really
I
creamy.
agree.
I also think the pie crust for store-bought pie is really pretty good. What would
Very
you-
shortbready.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it. It's
It's not too sweet.
yeah, and you can see the way that it's a little bit. It's not overcooked, is what I'm trying to say too. It's not hard. I kind of like my pie crust soft. All right, moving on to the whiskey. We've got Lock and Company Aspen Age Rye, even signed by the distillers. Pretty sweet. You got that in your cup?
Yes,
May I?
you may.
Okay. So first, may I have my water?
This one
First, Lunch Ballot.
with a different whiskey.
Can if I ate a different pie?
whiskey.
Go for it.
Nah.
All right. So you could do this with or without ice. I actually think it probably might go well without ice as well. Okay, so we've got the depth of aromatics are going to be on more the woody
I
side.
see why you paired that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yay! So the Aspen Age Rye is a really beautiful rye. So it's going to have a little bit of spiciness to it, which is going to go well with the aromatics of the pumpkin pie. But then it also is, the reason why I like it is it has this extra 8-month aging on aspen discs that have been charred. And that seems to pull out a lot of the impurities from my perspective on the sensory side that you would kind of get. And so it mellows out. So even though it's a really pretty high octane, it mellows out the alcohol as well. All right, so let's put this piece together.
I ran out of whiskey. We
We won't let you run out of whiskey.
We don't have enough.
Give her here. Yeah, we're really lacking in whiskey right
Just
now.
a little splashy.
So I just had a
There's
really
not
heavy
enough.
crust piece.
Thank you.
You're
Works
welcome.
really well with the buttery crust and with the spices. So for me, it didn't tame down the alcohol any more than the alcohol. The burn of the alcohol stayed the same for me. I also have a very sensitive trigeminal nerve.
Okay.
So the pain of alcohol is higher for me. So sometimes food can tamper that. This one didn't with the crust, but maybe it will with the pumpkin part. Oh yeah.
It totally mellows it.
Yep. So when you have the pie filling piece of this, and it could be just mechanical blocking because you've got this creamy texture that's blocking your the nerves that are tied, the trigeminal nerve pieces that are tied to your ability for pain, temperature, texture, and alcohol is an irritant. Could be that, or it could be something that's doing. Oh my gosh, the after just keeps getting better. The aromatics are like, and it's like the burn is really good. All right, so that's our number one pairing so far. We haven't tried anything else yet.
But you dig it.
Let's do
But
the
I
cherry
dig
one.
it. All right. So now we're gonna move on to a cherry vegan pie. Home baked.
First time we ever tried a vegan crust.
Okay, tell us about this crust.
It's pretty similar to a regular crust. The only substitution is vegan butter.
Which is
I used Earth Balance vegan butter. I don't really
What's it
know
made of?
anything about it.
Okay.
Let me pull it out.
so
I
right
don't
off.
cook vegan normally, but I had a request for this, so I wanted to try it out and see if this would work.
Okay, so right off the bat, it baked up beautifully.
Vegetable oil is the number one.
Okay. So that would explain why it crisped up, but it's not flaky.
It's definitely not flaky.
It's definitely not flaky. And when we cut through it, it's kind of hard to cut through.
Yeah.
But it cooked up well.
I mean, the inside.
It
It's
kind
how
of is
you
like
want it
a.
to
It's
be.
kind of like a sweet naan, a little bit, but without like
Yeah.
the fluffy part,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like this crispy part that I usually. I'm like, oh, I want the fluffy one. All right. Let's get in the cherries here.
They're excellent.
Mm-hmm. Nice and
Really
sour.
rich.
Yeah.
Not too sour. I think the pH is too
It's
sour.
good.
But a
What did
good
you use
sour.
for sweetening?
Just sugar.
Just sugar. Okay,
But I added lemon juice.
that's good.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So
Recipe
really,
did not call for that.
it was
but I
like
felt
it's
like
like
we
a
needed
cooked version of the cherries that you would put into some like what beverage you usually put a cherry in. Those really nice cherries. In Manhattan.
it. Like
did
an
I do
old
that?
fashioned.
Old fashioned. Yeah.
Right?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Who's got the
Yeah.
We need this black bush,
black bush? Okay.
which I've never had.
None of us have had this.
But when I did research on what goes well with cherry pie, this was the one that kept coming up.
All right.
But it's an Irish whiskey, so it's different than our other bourbons.
So
that
it's
we
gonna
have
be.
here.
We'll see. I don't know what it's gonna be. Cleanse the palate. See if it tells us anything besides drinking responsibly. Irish whiskey, rich and smooth. Triple distilled, finest blended.
Finest.
Finest.
Matured to perfection in sherry casks. Did you know that?
No, didn't.
That might
Maybe
be
that's
why. Okay, let's give it a smell. I don't know that I would like without it telling me that it was aged in sherry cask. I don't know if I would have like called that out, but it does have like that kind of vine. Oh my gosh, smell that. That's really lovely. Do you like scotch? Or it's whiskey, it's not scotch. That
Oh
smells really
man,
nice.
nice.
It's got a really beautiful bouquet. Let's see if I can try to identify what it is though. Okay, now I'm getting too much alcohol. I gotta let it.
That's what I find with a lot of the like.
I don't know, I have a
whiskeys, is that
hard
they
time-
Smell like alcohol to me.
Yeah, this one smells like
So
it.
I'm curious to see if I like this.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time distinguishing what I'm getting on this besides the alcohol. But it's got some complex aroma. What makes an Irish whiskey Irish? For me, that is really high test compared to what we
Pour a
just
little in
drank.
here?
So this is 40%. Yeah. I think the other one probably was the same. Right? Like that's like if that hits you hard. Okay, also we're not drinking that with ice, so we need to take that into account. Where is the
Holy smokes.
Yeah, that's.
That one stays.
Yeah, this one is higher alcohol. content.
Really?
Yeah, 45.
Yeah, that burns.
But now
It
I
burns
want
more.
I want to try it with the pie. though.
All right, so now we try it with the cherry. Get a little bit of the crust. The cherry, but I think the sweetness is going to do a lot. Because sweetness has a cognitive effect that blocks out pain receptors. Just like the Dementors. They knew. Chocolate. Here, butter.
It definitely cuts it.
So the other thing I look for in pairings is what does it do together that it doesn't do separate.
Yeah.
For me, this isn't doing much together.
Mm.
It's
I'm
like a
getting the-
partnership.
I'm getting the alcohol separate from the cherry. There's no new immersion of aromas.
Let's try it
Or
with the Buffalo
sensations?
Trace.
All right. You feel
See
like the
what
Buffalo
that
Trace
does.
is gonna work
I
with
don't
this
know.
one?
It just is way
Are
smoother.
we keeping track of what cups are what?
Those ones are both. I messed that up. Sorry.
These are both what? Buffalo Trace?
No, Lock and Go.
Alright, these are Lock and Co. We'll drink those later.
We will.
Okay. Buffalo Trace. This is one of your favorites, right?
Yeah.
Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey.
You have to say it like that.
We kind of do. Alright, let's see what happens when we put it together. I'm just thinking that you're not going to have the same texture in the fruit pies
As a pumpkin.
to hold up to the alcohol content of a whiskey.
Sell it easy. What'd you think?
Whew, I think I had alcohol flushing through my nostrils.
Ew.
Ew.
So not a good pairing.
Mm.
I can't tell in this one. I'm not sure if the cherry's going very well. Whew. Right? What's this one? So, bourbon also is going to have corn. So it's going to change things a little bit.
Yikes.
No,
you ready to see
yeah,
it?
it's not good.
Alright, so this is the same alcohol content as this one. So I'm telling you, the Aspen, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm telling you. Alright, Buffalo Trace.
Maybe
What about
that's-
on ice?
Mm.
I'm going to join these guys.
Do you need a piece of ice?
Nope, I'm going to just use this one right
is
here.
mine.
Alright, let's try the Buffalo Trace on ice and see what we can do here.
Ice in there?
It is merged. Helps a little bit. Let's put some of the bread in there.
Pie crust. Right there. Perfect.
So it's a little bit smoother once you put things on ice, so that's something to consider. But it's not, nothing's coming out that wasn't there already.
I think it's gonna be better with pecan than the pumpkin.
I think so too. I'm wondering too if the cinnamon was picked up more. Is that what's on top?
No.
Oh.
That's sugar.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, I thought it was cinnamon. I was like, I don't taste any cinnamon.
Oh no.
Okay, so with the pure cherries, we're not bringing out any new aromatics, and the alcohol is just as high tested as by itself. So if
what'd
you like
pair it
that, that's a good question. I think I'd probably pair it with a whiskey drink that had some sort of herb in it,
Mm.
because the
The
herbs
cocktail?
will balance out and bring. So you've got kind of like the sour and the sweet coming from this, and you'd have a cocktail that's going to bring in a couple other flavors, and you get something more complex. But I think straight, it's not.
Rose maple sour.
Yeah, your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So rosemary maple rosemary maple syrup sour. I think would be awesome.
Lemon is sour.
Yeah. All right, we'll be
Yum.
sure to note that in the,
Okay, we'll
in the
note it.
notes. All right, moving on. Pecan. Pecan pie is so darn sweet that it's gonna go, I think, with any of these. In my opinion.
From what I read about apple pie, that was the same way.
Yeah. But the
So I'll be
texture on this,
curious to know.
this gooey,
Mm-hmm.
like
Gooey goodness.
this gooey
Mm-hmm.
goodness.
Can't eat too much of the goo.
Grosses you out.
As in, like limited goo. Yeah, it's too much.
It's
It's
so
too
sweet.
It's too sweet.
It's like pure
I usually scrape it out.
everything. All right, I know. All right. No more go with that except for it's sweet. You got the nuttiness from the pecans. Where are we trying with this? Same thing. Okay.
I think it would go well with any of them.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Obviously, I do a lot of scraping.
Pecans are perfectly cooked. They're like, they have the crunch, but then they soften.
It's really. I mean, some goo is better than others.
Okay, so pecan pie
Goo is great.
is gonna hold up because it's got the texture from the goo. I think that's the technical term.
Yeah, it's definitely.
The
technical.
texture from the goo is going to do a lot in order to break up the alcohol, but then you have the aromatics from the nuts, and the aromatics from the nuts are going to very well balance anything that's been aged. It's kind of a similar, a similar earthy alignment almost, like they're in harmony together. So that's what I'm getting. I didn't try it with any of the crust, but I'm sure the crust would would add with that too. I just did it with the goo and the pecan. It's not bad.
It doesn't
Actually-
go well with the black though.
No? Okay.
Mm.
What I will say about this
Too
is I don't usually like this, but I would like it with
Mm-hmm.
the Buffalo Trace is a good combination. Get on it. All right, you digging into the apple? Okay. Let's make this happen.
I had the whole lineup.
You
over
got
there.
everything over
Yeah,
there? Yes,
we're
good. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So you're set up with a little bit of everything.
Sure am.
Okay, now
Ooh.
this crust.
Yeah, that crust is.
Crust.
Oh,
And that's
what you
why.
want.
That's
let's get a
why.
close-up of this.
I mean.
This
That's
is why.
like why we're not vegan. It's
Yeah,
for this.
God-
crust.
God
This
bless
is why we're not
vegans, but-
vegan.
It sounds
But-
Listen-
so good that
let's-
it smells good.
Everybody listen
Oh,
to the
okay.
sound.
What is it? DSMR or
Oh.
what is it?
ASMR.
ASMR. thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
this
how it's
crust
supposed to be.
is gonna knock us socks off.
The pie itself is gonna be runny due to some
We didn't age it.
malfunctions.
The pie's not
properly.
aged properly. We're supposed to let it sit, but we're so
It's a baby
anxious
pie.
that we're just gonna dig in.
Pie.
Oh. What do we got in here? Cinnamon. What else?
Lemon juice,
Mm-hmm.
brown sugar, and white sugar.
Brown sugar.
Want that one?
Get on it, dude.
Thanks.
I have
I have that big gold knife.
Butter.
Yeah, you have the big gold knife. Who's got makers kicking around?
I don't think we've poured makers yet.
I think Miss Becca.
This one
Maybe
is
Becca
this is
did.
the makers.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Trying this with the makers today. Perfectly cooked, Becca.
Oh,
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
my.
Okay, it also has nutmeg. That was the other thing in it.
Oh my god. It's
Whoa,
crust.
that is crazy together.
Really?
Crazy good?
Good or no?
Crazy, like, doesn't taste like each of them separate. So remember I was telling you about before, where it was like, it's in my mouth, it's mixing all together, but it's not making any fireworks. It's like
Yeah.
I can taste this separate and I taste this separate.
Mhm.
There's no creation of anything new.
Yeah.
In this case, something going on with these spices and
Something going.
the makers.
Butter.
There is butter.
That's what's going on.
All the butter.
I didn't have butter in the bite.
No?
Mm-mm. It's almost like, okay, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound like it's not good, but it's good. It makes it taste like that good smell of good soil after rain.
Yes, I
Right?
love that smell.
You know what I'm talking about though? Are you getting that? Like there's this soil element.
Tastes
like
earthy.
dirt.
It's an
Earthy.
earthy.
It is, but
element.
earthy's not descriptive enough for this.
Tastes
With
like
whiskey
dirt.
by
Becca.
itself. Tastes like shit, guys.
Your
No.
pie tastes like dirt.
I'm kidding.
All right. So all together now, what are we working with? What was everybody's favorite?
Well,
This
any-
crust.
Well, yeah, I know you love the crust. What do you love it with?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get that far.
You want to try it with the makers?
Yeah.
All right, Tara's
You're saying
favorite.
it's earthy when you add it with the makers?
Yeah, do you think it's earthy by itself because of the nutmeg?
The apples?
Yeah. The texture of it too. Like it's a little bit dry and
It's
astringent.
definitely earthy.
What type of apples do you use?
I used Honeycrisp.
Oh, favorite.
Called for Granny Smith. but
Yeah.
I want
But you knew better.
Honeycrisp. Yeah.
You knew better. Nice,
Good.
nice tart sour apples. For me, I was really blown away by the pumpkin pie, what it did. And on the other hand, what I couldn't make anything work with the cherry pie.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Because you think like they're not that different, but I think in a lot of ways they are. The pecan, I think you can go with anything with that.
Becca did not like it with the.
Oh, except for the Irish whiskey.
I just don't think I like that whiskey.
There you go. So if you don't like any of the individual
So then
components,
that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
So note to self when you're pairing these things.
pick something you like
Yeah.
to drink by in and of itself. And then what was the last one? Did we talk about
Apple.
Apple, which we just had an
Apple with
extensive
makers.
discussion. Yeah,
Yeah.
with the makers.
Mhm.
Very good. Well, here's to everyone. Let's grab a glass that still has liquor in it.
Sunglass.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's to holiday pairings
Yeah.
With my girls.
Yes.
with
Cheers.
some whiskey and to gather and drift for
And
these
to Dr.
beautiful
Nicole
pies.
Arnaud.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
let's finish all the pie.
Oh, but at once.
And all the whiskey.
Oh yeah, that's right.